Governor Akpabio advocates a joint military task force between Nigeria and other African countries to tackle current security insurgency. Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission okays commencement of Ibaka Deep Sea Port project. State government flags off second edition of distribution of customized exercise books to students in public schools. Details shortly. Good morning and welcome to AKBC for 5 News at dawn. I am Blessing Isongyo. Governor Godswill Akpabio has advocated the establishment of a joint military task force between Nigeria and other neighboring African countries to tackle the current security insurgency in the region. Governor Akpabio stated this while addressing the opening of 2014 Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference, Meridian Ibom Hotel and Golf Resort to you. Edema Sangaya has more.
Chief Akpabio, who as a special guest lauded the Nigerian Army for their courage and determination to restore peace in Nigeria, noted that the Army has kept the faith and kept the flame of professionalism burning. He said no country has ever entered a war with the Army it needs, but rather with the Army it has paid for and trained. According to him, the character of the war has evolved. The Nigerian Army has responded with flexibility and courage, adding that armies do not define the challenges they face, but rather adapt to the challenges that come their way.
Armies do not define the challenges they face. They don't. They only adapt to the challenges that come their way. And in this way, I believe that the Nigerian Army is already adapting adequately to the current challenges. So let me urge all Nigerians to pray for our men in uniform, as well as the Nigerian Army, and to support them in every way possible to ensure the success of the current situation.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Kenneth Minima, who served as the chief host at the event, described the upsurge of insurgency in the country as a threat to the peace and security of Nigerians. He said the conference was organized among other issues to review activities of the Nigerian Army in 2014 and a review of ongoing operations in the Northeast. The Chief of Army Staff said the conference offers the Nigerian Army an opportunity to deliberate and re-strategize to ensure that peace was restored to the country. According to him, this year's conference will adopt a town hall meeting format in order to give a cross-section of other level officers an opportunity to meet and interact with the leadership of the Nigerian Army in addressing issues affecting the society.
The Army under my command believes that an effective two-way political and horizontal communication can confer institutional benefits, especially as we confront current national security challenges.
Assign reporting.
The Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission has given the go-ahead for the commencement of the Ibaka Deep Sea Port project. Governor Godswill Akpabio announced the Commission's grant of no objection to the project when the chairman of Tinkan Port Terminal, Lagos, Mr. Yehuda Kotek, called at the government house, Uyo. Governor Akpabio explained that the fact that no structure was on ground at the site of the Ibaka Deep Sea Port does not mean that the project has been abandoned. Chief Akpabio said the procedure for building a deep sea port was cumbersome, given that it has to begin with the concept, research, hydrochloric studies and relocation of oil pipelines to create the necessary pathway for the ship before construction commences. He said many investors have indicated interest in the port project, noting that government was interested in one of the models presented, which is based on build, operate and transfer. The governor hinted that by January 2015, the state government would sign a memorandum of understanding with the investors to commence the Ibaka Deep Sea Port project. He said the state was craving for investment, adding that working with the Bollywood Group, which is reputed in port construction in many countries, will bring about uncommon transformation in terms of enhancing the living standard of the people. The chairman of Tinkan Terminal Lagos, Mr. Yehuda Kotik, applauded the state government for the investment in the port project. Mr. Kotik, who is the special director representing the Bollywood Group for Port Project, said his company has been in the business of building and management of ports for about 200 years. He said the Bollywood Group operates 18 container terminals across Europe, Africa and Asia and engages in logistics, transportation as well as port communication. Mr. Kotik said geographic location of Ibaka is excellent for port investment, citing proximity to confines in the Gulf of Guinea, and indicated the interest of the Bollywood Group to bring its expertise to bear in the construction of the deep sea port. To further demonstrate its determination to ensure that education is totally free, the present administration in the state has commissioned Upongson Nigeria Limited to produce and supply 1,200,000 customized exercise books to be distributed to school children in public secondary schools in the state. Governor Godswill Akpabio announced this at the official flagging of ceremony of the distribution of customized exercise books to public secondary schools held at the Civil Service Auditorium, Idong Esankara Secretariat, Uyo. The report of the flagging of ceremony is presented in our studio.
Represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Engineer Nkiru Mekanum, the Governor recalled that in 2010, he personally flagged off the distribution of free textbooks in all the course subjects and provided introductory technology equipment for science laboratories and technology workshops, as well as books for libraries among the educational materials to effectively enhance the free and compulsory education policy in the state. He said apart from subvention to school heads and paying external examination fees for students in public schools, government has also provided a conducive environment for positive teaching and learning, extensive rehabilitation and reconstruction of classroom blocks, construction of hostels, supply of desks, provision of water, among others. His administration, he said, has also erected new classroom blocks and taken over 7 private and community schools across the state, adding that since 2007, a total of about 16,977 projects have been undertaken by the government in public, primary and secondary schools across the state.
We did all this conscious of the fact that our children and other children resident in the state, being beneficiaries of the free and compulsory education, need tertiary institutions to advance their educational careers.
The Commissioner for Education, Professor Atmantai, said the exercise goes to confirm the passion the government has for education. She maintained that the intention of government is to continue to strengthen the educational foundation and fortunes to enable the students to be equipped to face the future. As the major component of the free and compulsory education program in the state, Professor Antai said the state government has implemented 27.5% new teacher salary scheme, payment of SSCE and NAPTEC fees to all SS3 students, regardless of the state of origin, payment of bursary to students, as well as grants to law and medical students.
With massive education, superstition, crime, poverty, and other related crises would be minimized in the state. Most importantly, I charge parents to survey, based on development elsewhere, the new kind of participatory mechanism that can exist between government, parents, teachers, and their work.
In their separate goodwill messages, the president of ANCOPS, Mr. Linus Odiong, and the representative of Upongson Nigeria Company Limited, Mrs. Victoria Kunukbong, said they were delighted to identify with the government in the development of educational sector.
And I will make good use of these books in the process of teaching and learning. We hope that more books will still be distributed by the present administration before it departs office.
As the exercise books which we benevolently ordered us to produce are being commissioned today, it gives us extreme joy to witness it, especially as it goes a long way to boost the free and compulsory education policy of His Excellency Chief Dr. Godswill Obot Akpabio in Akwa Ibom State.
The erosion control project along Dominic Otoga Avenue, the Ibom Specialist Hospital at Itam, and the 4-star hotel at Ikadekbene have been earmarked for delivery in the first quarter of 2015. The special advisor to the Governor on Technical Matters, Engineer Etidoyan, who confirmed this during an inspection of facilities, expressed satisfaction at the level of work on the project. AKBC reporter Fortune Omoshola reports that the Dominic Otoga Avenue is being closed for now and will be reopened on Friday to allow for a culvert channelization on the erosion control project. This report.
The inspection of the major projects led by the Special Advisor, Bureau of Technical Matters, Engineer Etido Iyang, began at the site of the erosion control project located along Dominic Otoga Avenue, where work has reached an advanced stage. Handled by Najapet Construction, the Ecological Intervention Project would serve as a major drainage point for the state capital's catchment areas when finally delivered. According to the contractor, Mr. Terry Folix, the project is at 85% completion, saying the company would seize advantage of the weather conditions to carry out a culvert channelization.
When we get into the rainy season, all this thing will be in operation. Okay, so you can see from the size of the project, it's a significant project. Okay, with a large scope, but government has seen the issues, seen the problems of erosion control, and have acted. This is a major landmark project.
Assessing the project, the Special Advisor held the collaboration between the federal and state governments in executing such an enormous flood control measure, and confirmed that the project, which will be submitted in 3 months, is guaranteed to survive decades.
And I'm not only happy that Dominic area is being taken care of. Happy that the government house, is completely safe, after the execution of this project. The prison is also safe, and of course, this next community here. So all of this put together is one project that is going to salvage Uyo, Metropolis. One of those added projects, and of course, is in conjunction with the federal government.
The project monitoring team proceeded to the Ibom Specialist Hospital at Itam, where the 45,000 square meters structure had its facade and interior designs at a near completion stage. Architect Roy McGregor, the consultant on the project, showed the team the technical realities applied to the project, which according to him was modeled on international hospital designs and quality.
This hospital has been designed to international standards in terms of both the size of the rooms, the quality of the environment, the equipment to be installed, and managers have been appointed who will run the hospital with the expectation of getting Joint Commission International accreditation.
Obviously satisfied with the work done, Engineer Iyang captured the project completion under 3 months, with the expectation that the project would be a spectacle in the circle of medical operations when it comes on stream.
All the team members have been working assiduously. His Excellency has put up a lot of pressure on the team to deliver, and the way it looks, the hospital will be ready for January ending.
Also visited was the site of the Ikarekpene Hotel, a 4-star attraction designed about 22,000 square meters and apportioned with 11 floors, 144 standard rooms, 12 luxury suites, open space among other compartments that would rank it tall among its peers.
You say this will be a unique building in Akwa Ibom State, both design-wise and I think also the pace of the job, pace of the work is never been seen in Nigeria before.
According to the Special Advisor, Bureau of Technical Matters, the hotel, which will be handled by Sheraton Hotels when delivered in March 2015, was not only designed using international standards, but constructed using feasibilities that can expand the economic potentials of the state.
So by end of March, all the landscaping, all the bedrooms with furniture will be in, and then it will be handed over to Sheraton, to come in with their team.
Interestingly situated to the major projects is employment opportunities that would tag along in the wake of the operations. Fortune Omoshola reporting.
We shall continue with the news after this short break. Stay with us.
My challenge to the Akwa Ibom youth today is to rise up and protect the uncommon transformation. Rise up and protect the uncommon transformation. There must be sustainability. So for me as a governor, I'm charging Akwa Ibom children. The future belongs to you. Your fathers have done their bit. Rise up and protect your future. Bring a governor that will bring industrialization. Bring a governor that will bring progress. Bring a governor that will bring development. Not the one that goes on ethnic cleavage. Not the one that goes to bring tribalism. Not the one that gangs up with elders and wants to come through the window. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate our dear President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, for the endorsement given to him by the National Executive Committee of our party as the sole candidate in 2015 presidential election. I want to thank the people of Nigeria for recognizing that leadership comes from God, and God gives it to whom He pleases. So I stand with my dear President so that he will succeed for my children to have Nigeria tomorrow. I thank Nigeria for supporting Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Glad to have you back. As the dry season begins in earnest, the State Fire Service has begun basic enlightenment program on fire prevention. In furtherance of this, a senior instructor in the service, Commander Godwin Akpan, has mounted an enlightenment at the Akwa Ibom Fire Service headquarters, Dominic Otoka Avenue, Uyo. According to Commander Akpan, the program is aimed at teaching basic fire prevention techniques. Commander Akpan identified 4 classes of fire to include Class A fire, which burns on ordinary materials like clothes, paper and woods. According to him, the dry clinical powder or carbon dioxide extinguisher can extinguish all classes of fire. The senior instructor spoke of the need to have a fire extinguisher at homes and for the family members to know how to operate it. He said when fire occurs, it is the smoke that kills first, adding that one can escape by bending low and crawling out of the room since the smoke concentrates above the floor. The need to stop stigmatization and discrimination against persons living with HIV/AIDS dominated discussions at a lecture jointly organized by the State Ministry of Health and Akwa Ibom State Agency for the Control of AIDS, ACSACA, to mark the World's AIDS Day. The event, which was held at the Civil Service Auditorium, Idoison Ghana Secretariat Complex, Uyo, brought together several implementing partners, volunteers and other stakeholders who brainstormed on the way forward in ending the pandemic. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Emema Basibasi, at the event called on people to continue to show love and care to persons living with HIV/AIDS. He said the fight against the pandemic in the state was succeeding and commended Governor Godswill Akpabio for ensuring quality health care for the people.
And we can only win the fight against infection if we know our status and subsequently receive appropriate care and support services irrespective of the result of the test. Also, by the end of last year, we had only 34 functional health facilities where pregnant women attending antenatal care can receive service from well-trained and skilled staff.
The Regional Director, World Health Organization, represented by Dr. Sylvester Agwai, emphasized the need for continuous funding from leading nations to combat the pandemic. The Regional Director urged countries to remove inequalities and barriers challenging the vulnerable in accessing HIV services. The Chairman, State House of Assembly Committee on Health, Elder Friday Wook, assured that the bill seeking to stop stigmatization against persons living with HIV in the state will soon be passed into law. The Chairman of Akwa Ibom State Agency for the Control of AIDS, Dr. Francis Udoipo, stated the resolve of his agency to make Akwa Ibom zero prevalence rate by the end of the present administration. He used the occasion to announce a 5-day free HIV/AIDS testing at all the health care centers across the state and advised the people to avail themselves of the opportunity to know their HIV status.
Show love to those who have the infection. That's why we are now asking to give us a welcome song.
The celebration under the global theme Focus, Partner to Achieve an HIV/AIDS-Free Generation, with sub-theme Close the Gap, Stop Stigmatization and Discrimination, featured roadwork to sound the drum that AIDS is real. Family heads in all the 31 local government areas of the state have supported the decision of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party to zone the 2015 governorship slots in Akwa Ibom State to Eket Senatorial District. Florence Umoito reports that the family heads declared their support to the PDP's decision at the ceremony held at the Christ the King Primary School, Wellington Basiwe, Uyo.
Meeting of all the Mbongekuk under the aegis of the Chambers of Family Heads, the members in an address signed by the President, Etubom Achibongakpan, Secretary Obong Pius Abel, and the State Coordinator Obong Idongesirukun, unanimously endorsed the zoning of the gubernatorial position by the PDP to Eket Senatorial District. The Mbongekuk members, who described themselves as the kingmakers as reflected in the Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers Edict number 15 of 1990, called for the amendment of the Traditional Rulers Law Cap 134 in order to include the family heads in the mainstream of the state's traditional leadership and to reflect their position as the members of the core family who select other cadre of the royal fathers. They lauded the landmark achievements of Governor Godswill Akpabio, which they said include the construction of good road network, flyovers, free and compulsory education, free medical care for children and the aged, the Ibom Tropicana, empowerment of recognized traditional rulers, farmers, widows, and the physically challenged, as well as the 30,000 seating capacity Ibom International Stadium.
Declaration of our total support for zoning the governorship race to Eket Senatorial District come 2015.
Addressing the forum, the Special Assistant to the Governor on Petroleum Monitoring, Obong Esiene Sema, commended the royal fathers for uniting to address issues affecting them, and particularly for supporting the state governor's desire to see that a capable hand takes over the governorship seat in 2015. Obong Esema, who doubles as the national chairman, Transformation Initiative for the Empowerment of Ibom People, spoke glowingly of the immediate past secretary to the state government, Mr. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, saying that Udom Emmanuel will sustain the ongoing uncommon transformation and bring about human development and empowerment. It described the call for a review of the traditional rulers' law to accommodate family heads as desirable in view of their crucial roles in social security, family cohesion, unity, stability, and proximity to the grassroots. Presenting a paper titled The Role of Leadership in the Rural Area, the Chairman, Chambers of Family Heads, Etemeko Chapter, Obong Idongeset Okon, described the Mbongekpok as leaders who exert great influence on their subjects, saying that they deserve government's recognition for greater effectiveness. He described Mr. Udum Emmanuel as a man imbued with strong leadership qualities such as honesty, humility, loyalty, diligence, and prudence, and one who is qualified to lead the state from 2015. Florence Omoitok reporting.
Thank you for being a part of our news broadcast this morning. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging onto akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45U, on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. Before we go, another look at the top stories. Governor Godswill Akpabio has advocated the establishment of a joint military task force between Nigeria and other African countries to tackle the current security insurgency in the region. He stated this during the 2014 Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference in Uyu. We also brought you a report that the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission has okayed the commencement of the Baka Deep Sea Port project. As the news, thanks for watching and do have a blessed day. Good morning.